It's my very great pleasure and honor to introduce Dr. Jonathan Woodson.
Well, good morning. And you know, it's always a tough act to follow the valedictorian. Claire, you did a superb job. Let's give her another round of applause. Dean Moore, thank you for that kind introduction. You know, although as I get older, I'm not sure what represents an enthusiastic introduction or a rehearsal for my eulogy. Faculty, distinguished guests, family, friends, and most importantly, Boston University Sargent College graduates of 2017. It's a distinct honor and privilege for me to be here today to celebrate your achievements and this milestone in your lives and your careers. First, I do want to acknowledge the hard work that got you to this day, and I know it's been a lot of long nights and arduous work that brought you to this moment. And I want to acknowledge the commitment of the faculty of Sargent College in preparing you academically for your bright futures. But most importantly, I want to recognize the sacrifice, love, and support of your parents and family, without whom little is possible, but with them, all things are possible. Please give them and yourselves a round of applause. And graduates, let me give you one cautionary note. The glee you see in your parents' eyes is only in part reflects their great pride in your accomplishment. It mainly reflects their delight in not having to write Boston University any more checks. It was both exciting and humbling for me to return to Boston University after completion in government service this last year. Exciting because of the opportunity to drive new interdisciplinary health and healthcare-related research through the newly established Institute for Health Systems Innovation and Policy, but humbling because of the renewed and deeper appreciation of the awesome talent present in the students and faculty here at BU, the people that represent the true credentials of this great university. My time in Washington gave me a great and deep appreciation for how great America is and can be, how important good leadership is, and the important responsibility we have as citizens to provide public service and ensure that diversity of ideas are represented in government. Government does have an essential role in creating the conditions for people in the society to succeed and prosper. And the people have an important role to make sure the elected officials are held accountable to do that very job. Having said this, I must admit, last year was a great time to leave Washington. Enough said. You know, commencement speeches are always a challenge. It's a challenge for the speaker to capture a few pearls that will resonate with the audience and stay on task to be bold, be brief, and be gone. And I know it's a challenge for the audience to just stay awake. It is a truth that very few of you will remember who the commencement speaker was today. But before you slip into that fugue state, I want to give you the bottom line up front, as we used to say in the Pentagon, the bluff. 3 points which I hope you'll retain, reflect upon, and use as a guide for the future. First, you will not be truly successful in life or in your careers unless you work to establish balance. Nurture mind, body, and spirit, and strengthen mutually important relationships. This balance will make you resilient when the tough times come, and there will be tough times, and allow you to remain enthusiastic about your life and careers. Balance also permits you to see more clearly how you will make your unique contribution in life. You may not be in balance every day or every year, but balance throughout the years is essential to true fulfillment and success. Second, what you do with your career in rehabilitation medicine, the allied health sciences, physical therapy, research will make a profound difference. It may impact one client or patient at a time, or through your efforts in teaching, research, or public health, impact global populations or generations. promoting and restoring health and ability to the ill and injured, and research to advance the evidence-based strategies for care remain some of the most important career paths that exist. What you have committed to doing with your professional lives will matter, and matter greatly. Lastly, you cannot achieve your full potential in your chosen careers unless you commit to developing good leadership skills. Our country and our world will always be in need of good leaders, people who know how to establish a vision for a better tomorrow and can motivate others to work toward that common goal. Now, with that out of the way, those of you who need to slip into the early stages of sleep, just go ahead. Someone will certainly nudge you when it's all over. David Brooks, the noted author, columnist, and political commentator, wrote a book several years ago called The Road to Character, from which a celebrated New York Times column was extracted called The Moral Bucket List. In this essay, he writes about the personal journey, his own personal journey to have moral adventures in order to create and work at saving his soul. Now, he was a very accomplished journalist at the time, but he felt that he was out of balance. Out of this experience, he defined two types of virtues: resume virtues and eulogy virtues. The first, resume virtues, are identified and often listed in our resumes, and it's the skills we bring to the marketplace, he says, and makes us good at our jobs or gets us that job. Eulogy virtues, on the other hand, are the attributes we are remembered for. Were we compassionate? Were we brave? Were we a people of integrity? They represent our true character and mark our value for having existed in this life. He notes that in recent times, our society has placed increasingly importance on resumes, but Brooks provides a powerful conceptual framework to guide us in achieving balance and evaluating the value of the experiences we have in life. Someone once said that life is what happens when you're otherwise making plans. I have found this to be repeatedly true, as it expresses the need in life to expect the unexpected. Each of you need to be prepared to negotiate around obstacles, even as you keep your eye on the prize or those long-term goals you have set for yourself. Who knows? You may have some of those moral adventures Brooks writes about. It is important to understand that the deviations in life are the friction points when we learn most about ourselves and we grow. If life were always a smooth path from point A to point B, it would be dull and predictable. Deviations and the challenges they present give us new experiences and create novel situations which allow us to build our toolkits and be successful and resilient. Moreover, remember, as it has been said, life is about the journey. The destination is important, but the road trip is often what is remembered, and people remember you by that. Our forced or voluntary deviations from our path allows us to examine the importance or value of those things we seek in life, whether they are material things, jobs, positions, or people in our lives. They often bring into focus the value of personal relationships and the need to nurture those relationships and maintain connections throughout our lives. They allow us to see new things and see old things anew. Deviations from plans create space and perspectives that allow you to rebalance your lives. It may put you outside of your comfort zone, but that's where the most growth will occur. So as you sit here, perhaps nervous about starting that new job, internship, graduate school, postdoc fellowship, or perhaps worried about the job or fellowship you did not get, be aware that that uncomfortable feeling is good, and you should seek to embrace whatever next life experience follows, even if it takes you out of your regular element. Consider opportunities to perform community service, national service, or international service. Occasionally deviating from our beaten path helps uncover your best potential. If you commit to blooming where you're planted, you will always be successful and grow. Over the course of my life, I have taken a number of deviations, often in the form of military or public service, to support contingency operations domestically and abroad. Whether my travels have taken me to Europe, Middle East, Iraq, Afghanistan, Africa, Central America, or elsewhere, the interruption in my private life, while difficult at times, provided me with new skills, experiences, valued colleagues, which I leveraged later in life. I came away with a larger view of the world and life, and the potential for making important contributions that I would otherwise not have considered. Next point, what you do in your career as health professionals will have profound importance. Herophilus, an ancient Greek physician to Alexander the Great, was reported to have said, "When health is absent, wisdom cannot reveal itself, art cannot manifest, strength cannot fight, wealth becomes useless, and intelligence cannot be applied." What a profound statement. If you've even had a self-limited illness like the flu, you will understand the essence of this quote. But this statement really defines the critical requirements for health as a foundation for individuals and nations to achieve their full potential and be successful and prosperous. That is why I'm mystified by some of the debate going on in Washington today that would limit access to and coverage for medical care, something I consider a basic right for everyone and is ultimately in the nation's best interest. So again, what you do as health professionals, particularly if you become advocates, will matter and matter greatly. Many of you have committed to professions that seek to restore function after illness or injury, and I am very familiar with the important work that you do. Twice in my life, I have stood on the battlefield as nations have gone to war. This is the dark side of humanity. I have cared for many soldiers injured in war and civilians injured because of violence, accidents, and self-abuse. I also know that rehabilitation professionals represent the hope and light for these victims. For over a decade, I have worked with and supported the marvelous work of rehabilitation professionals in our military hospitals. They have restored lives and given hope not only to wounded warriors, but also their families. In fact, they have stood the whole framework for defining disability and ability, not just defining levels of disability, but creating new opportunities and new abilities in these wounded warriors, as they have taught the wounded warriors to ski, scuba dive, surf, develop new occupations, and return to activities that were important in their lives and defined who they were and what their contributions were going to be later in life. These teams of committed professionals were making the wounded warrior whole, mind, body, and spirit. As a result, previously considered career-ending injuries did not become automatic reasons for discharge from the service. We have had double amputees stay on active duty and become commanders of wounded warrior battalions. We have had spinal cord injured soldiers continue their career. 24% of amputees remain on active duty, and some have returned to the combat zone because that was their desired goal as they saw themselves as professional soldiers. So the impact of what you do throughout your careers can be enormous. Remain enthusiastic about the positive difference you will make in people's lives and communities. Never accept the status quo. Be innovative and always incorporate the patient as your equal partner in the process. As I begin to wrap up, it should be evident to all your chosen careers can be a powerful agent for positive change in the world. However, graduates, your technical or scientific insights alone will not produce that change. It will be these abilities combined with the skills of leadership that will move the ball. Seek to exercise good leadership in whatever role you play, from intern to postdoc to more senior positions throughout your career. Leadership is like a muscle that must be exercised to achieve optimal conditioning. Leadership is active and never passive. Leadership builds highly effective teams to solve complex and difficult problems. Good leaders are rarely reactive and never custodians of the status quo. In order for you to be a good leader, you must first know yourself and deeply understand your values. It will be these values that act as a compass and allow you to navigate out of the fog in difficult times. There are many important values: duty, honor, integrity, respect, but don't neglect selfless service and personal courage. Doing something or standing up for something when it may cost you something personally. The last two values are the most difficult to attain. They require work to refine and to demonstrate reflexively. Also know that leadership can be exhausting at times, but this gets us back to balance in life, which allows us to renew and recharge. As each of you graduates sit here today with bright promise for the future, I want you to know this. Each of you has an opportunity to make a tremendous positive impact on humanity as you apply compassion, intelligence, clinical and scientific skill, eulogy, and resume virtues, with true leadership to remit suffering and ameliorate disease. Creating and restoring health is noble work, and combined with your ability to influence others, whether they are your patients, your students, other leaders, or people that make up societies, institutions, and government, the magnitude of your contributions throughout your career can be tremendous. I wish you all great success in your personal and professional lives in the future. I welcome all of you as colleagues in serving the health needs of this nation and the world. Thank you so much for having me here today, and best wishes for your chosen careers.